Hi, my name's Florine, and I'm a developer.
And I'm Adrian, and I'm a designer. And today we're going to shave off bytes for money.
But first, you bought us something.
I bought something. I was in London 2 weeks ago, and I brought this back. Even though it's not made in the UK, I think it's from the US, and it's called book.
I hope it doesn't taste like book.
It's highly promising. It says 0 bad on the side. I don't even know what that means, to be quite honest.
Let's get started.
Should you shake it?
I don't know.
So it's volcanic water or something, or fortified with. Don't pour it too much.
It looks like Coke.
It looks like Coke, yeah.
Okay. Let's put this out of the picture.
I guess. Cheers.
Okay. Cheers.
Here goes nothing. This is water.
This just tastes like water. This is
nothing.
A big disappointment. This is a big disappointment. So,
it's not bad. I don't know what the
black
stuff
ads,
is.
Yeah. So let's get to it.
Yeah, let's get to it. So we want to talk about image optimization. That's really the topic of the day.
Yeah.
So, and the thing about that is that for me as a designer, image optimization is like something I don't really care that much about. Or
so you're saying yeah, that's my job.
I wouldn't say it's your job, and I was going to add that I used to not really care about that. But yeah, here comes the big but. When I started designing in code, I also started designing with performance budgets, and then it suddenly becomes really interesting to know what do the assets in your project actually weigh? How do they impact the performance of something?
Is that something that you would consider in your design? I mean, if you work with if you have a design that depends a lot on photography, and you have also require big images, like big background images or big pictures, is that something that you have to consider there as well? So in the aesthetics, I mean,
I think so. I mean, a performance budget. I'm not really one who takes that as a hard and fast rule. Who says like, this is the budget and you can't ever move beyond that. I think each project should be sort of like a case by case thing.
Okay.
And the example that you mentioned is the photography website. I'm actually working on a website for a photographer now, who obviously wants to display the large images, the beautiful pictures, give them room.
Okay.
And there are some things that are, difficult when you're trying to work with a very restrictive performance budget on that project. So.
Okay, but this is also a performance budget is across the board. I mean, that goes from design to the developer, but also to the content editor or image editor that will eventually place the image on a website.
Exactly, yeah.
And that's actually, I think, one of the important bits here is why we talk about image optimization is that on a modern website, there was a tweet just recently that said, yeah, we have now reached the limit where an average website is as big as Doom 1 used to be. So
that's strange.
Yeah.
Also, it's impressive how much they got done with that amount of space. I mean,
exactly. Probably there were not high-res imagery in there. So, but anyway, I think it's really important to know that images are a large bit of that Doom-sized website.
Yeah.
Probably the next one is going to be
fonts, I guess.
Yeah, or JavaScript. It depends on the website.
On the website, yeah.
On the website. So, but I think that's why image optimization is a very important bit in building websites that perform.
Yeah. Just as a quick interjection here, do you think that it's also the place where the most quick wins can be had?
Yeah, I'm going
Depends.
I'm going to go with it depends.
Okay.
But yes, we have seen websites that were so badly you had so badly unoptimized image that we actually increased performance by 25 to 50% depending on the page, just by using really simple recompression techniques, lossless compression, stripping off all kind of image header. I mean, when you're taking a picture directly from the camera, it contains a lot of metadata like EXIF information and other information that you don't need when you put it on the web.
Yeah.
So just by doing a simple recompression, we gained really a lot.
Yeah, I mean, 20% you said? That's pretty impressive, especially...
Yeah, actually 20 to 50% because it was...
Yeah, I mean, when I run my images through tools, it varies somewhere between 20 and 50% also, so it's like somewhere in that range.
Yeah.
Okay, but the interesting part of this is, like you mentioned before, where there is, on one hand, the designer and the developer, but we mostly work on the static stuff, so on things that are, recurring
like icons,
exactly,
stuff like
or
that, yeah.
like if they have, for instance, a fixed background image, that kind of stuff we can optimize for. But many of the large websites are, they're managed by editors, like content editors.
Yeah, that will actually place it in their CMS, and then that will then publish the page, and that will be displayed.
Yeah, how does that work?
Yeah, I think that's where working with a performance budget is really nice. But as I said, this only works if everybody is aware of that
and knows what it means and acts accordingly.
I see less and less images in our static assets actually. Back in the day, we used to have to do the gradients with images, and so we had a lot of images, we had a lot of sprites, but that's actually by using other techniques like SVGs, like just the CSS gradients, etc. You can the actual amount of images in your static assets has decreased significantly.
It's getting lower. Yeah.
So, but still. The performance budget has to go across the board, and you can do all the optimization you want in your static asset when this is a page with a lot of photographs, and the editor just will put in high-res images, and your CMS your CMS will not resize them for you to the right size and not optimize them.
Okay, but I mean, I know many CMS that do resizing. But
most of them do.
Most of them do that, yeah. I don't know any that do optimizing, do you?
I think with the open source ones, there are always plugins that will handle that for you. For a recent project, we didn't solve the problem in the CMS because we couldn't change the CMS to do the image optimization. We actually used mod PageSpeed by Google to do it in the web server. So the CMS, it just has the regular image. It doesn't really know anything about. It did crop them and resize them, but they were still freakishly large because there was very unoptimized resizing. And then we had a page that had a 10 meg image in there. And PageSpeed made it into, I think, 25 kilobytes or something like that, or 100 kilobytes, something in that range. So that was a huge win.
Huge, as the Donald would say.
Yeah, he actually made websites great again.
Oh yeah, for $200 or something. Yeah, that was a tweet about. But how does that play together with when editors do start optimizing? So when they do, they use. I mean, Save for Web in Photoshop is a good start to optimize your images.
Yeah, it's not called Save for Web because I think Adobe is deprecating that in the CC 2015 version. Okay. It's still in there, but it's under the export menu. It's a little bit harder to find. And they're making actually the export as function to do that. But still, in the end, you want to use a tool like that and not just the regular save to do that. But if you use these tools, they're a pretty good start.
Yeah.
I have rarely seen an image that has been optimized with the Save for Web function that you will get 20%. That's more like in the 1 to 5% gain when you use another tool that does an extra optimization step in there.
Well, you can also when you do Save for Web, you can also set it, for instance, to progressive, so you can have.
This is especially important for JPEGs. So this is a tip for everyone. If you do have photographs on your website, please encode them as progressive JPEG, because that means that after the JPEG format is built in a way that you cannot really determine the size of the image until the whole image has been
loaded.
loaded.
Yeah.
So, but if you have a progressive JPEG, it can do that much earlier because it will load the first layer, and that's like the fuzzy bits, and
it'll get smoother.
But after the first layer has been loaded, it already knows what size it is, and that's also good for your browser because then the browser can already do layout and doesn't have to repaint when the rest of the image loads.
Exactly, so it doesn't jump, for instance. Yeah.
Exactly, and that also means a performance gain in your rendering on the browser side.
Yeah. Okay. And how does that play together? I mean, when for instance, you use CMS optimization or page speed, does that affect when editors also optimize? Does that have any effect on each other? Is that problematic? Do you know?
Again,
it depends. Okay.
No,
we're a fountain of answers today.
Yeah, the thing is, if you're let's say if your CMS or your page speed or whatever uses lossy compression, and you yourself already use lossy compression, then you will double up, and that will actually that can even have some bad effects. But if you use lossless compression on either one of these sides, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's actually it's complementary, so it will just get better.
Okay.
So what you see mostly is that let's go back to the example where we had a big photo site with big backgrounds. So you will probably have to do the optimization behind, because you can gain a lot by doing lossy compression. And to be honest, if you have a full page background, do you need it to be in the highest of highest qualities?
But that's like a case by case thing. I think that's going to be very hard to judge. Like, well, you can, for a big background, you can just do lossy compression. I think that might be.
And you can make a rule. Okay, we're going to use only 30% quality or something like that. But that still may result in a really high compression rate if you have like a big blue sky with just some clouds in it. But if you have a busy scene of a city, that will not work that well.
No, then you'll get artifacts and blocking.
Yeah, that, or you will have a large file size and you need to go even further down on your quality setting.
Oh, okay, that's the other thing. Like, lossy compression is not equal lossy compression. I mean, there's varying degrees of lossy compression, and like you said, I mean, if it's a blue sky, you can probably get away with quite a bit of lossy compression before people will actually notice it.
That's one part of it, but I meant more like an image with a lot of with not much going on, not a lot of variation, will compress better in any way than something that will have a lot of variation and a lot of busy.
So it will be by definition will be smaller.
Exactly.
So maybe we should recommend our editors of websites to just use photos of blue skies or a desert. Also good. But don't include the sky if you do the desert. Just one of the two, please.
Grassy fields,
but not too much detail. No, but what I noticed
we are really giving pro advice.
Yeah, right? This is awesome stuff. I mean, this is just gold. But the other thing that I noticed is that people don't actually notice it that much when you
go down in quality.
If you compress things very highly, and if you look at the image just as the image, and you would look at it for 5 to 10 seconds, you see this is quite heavily compressed, and it starts to get a bit ugly and start to fall apart a bit.
But honestly, do you ever visit a website and then you're going to I'm not going to look at this website
because they compress the image.
Compress their images.
Not really, and that's sort of my point, because I don't think people spend as much, or they don't really have the attention span for this kind of stuff. Like the most people will look at it is maybe half a second, maybe less.
Well, there are always exceptions. The Rijksmuseum in the Netherlands, they have this website where you can download their images and you can actually do something with their scans. It's really nice.
Oh, cool. So they're like high res?
And they really high res, and you can even if you email them, you can get even higher res. So it's really nice, and this is all in the open. And in that case, it matters a lot. But then again, it probably doesn't really matter if it takes 10 seconds to load that image because you really want that image.
Yeah, and it's not detracting from your browsing experience.
No,
so
absolutely,
it's not like they have a page about a painting and then first you have to download like the uber high res 100 megabyte file,
and then you find out, no, this is not the one I want.
This is not the one I'm looking for. No. But at least they saved it progressively.
So let's talk a little bit about tools. So how would you go about, we already talked a bit of when you do automatic, it's that your CMS should do it, or you can use something like mod page speed on the server side to really enhance that. And I'm really a fan of mod page speed because you can do really aggressive optimizations in there. But let's have a look at what you as a developer, as a designer can do when you're working with your static assets. And there are really a lot of tools out there.
A lot. I mean, just like CSS minifiers, for instance. There's like fucking gazillion of them.
Yeah. So, but the good news is there are some tools that actually combine some of these tools and will get you the best results that can be automatically achieved. So, for instance, Image Optim is a combination that uses different compressors. So if it encounters a JPEG, it will use a JPEG optimizer. I'm not sure exactly which ones, but these are all command line tools. You can also use them in your workflow, in a Gulp workflow, or in if you have make files, you can put them in there as well. Yeah,
this is mostly for bitmap.
This is for non-vector images. That's for rasterized images. Yeah.
And that's actually one that I really like is SVGO.
Jake Archibald made that, and it's really
good. Kudos
really
on
nice.
that.
Yeah, because if you use Illustrator to export the SVGs, right?
Yes, and they are not very good SVGs because Illustrator puts in a ton of stuff that you don't really need on the web.
No.
I don't know what else you would need it for, but on the web it's just like version numbers and that Illustrator made this SVG and that kind of stuff. And SVGO strips out all that stuff. I have a minor gripe with SVGO in that it sometimes deletes things that I don't know what the parameters for that are, but if you make, for instance, a line in Illustrator and then put the two anchor points of the line on top of each other, that will draw. So if you have, I mean, you shouldn't technically do that, but if you load that in a browser or in Illustrator, that will register as a dot if it's a stroked line. SVGO says two anchor points on top of each other.
We'll optimize them away.
Yeah, and then suddenly your dot is gone.
So I'm sure there is some option for that.
I haven't really looked at like the in-depth stuff. So.
Yeah, but it's really nice that you can actually upload your photo and you can actually see what the optimization does in your browser, and that's a bit of a drawback of the Image Optim tool. It just you drop. This is really handy for doing a lot of images because you can just drag them in and it will show you per file what it has actually optimized. There are other tools like Image Alpha. It will especially help you with PNG images. Okay. It will, and it also has a live preview, so you can actually see what the result will be, and that's really nice.
That's really helpful.
And that's the thing I always loved about Save for Web in Photoshop is that you could actually see what your setting would do and what the resulting file size would be.
Yeah, and how far can you push an image? It's much easier to tell if you can see it.
Yeah. Okay. So I think. Keep in mind that you should optimize the image because they're really a big part of modern websites and web applications.
And educate your CMS editors, so people who actually work on the website, let them know about optimization
and I think it should be a group. It is a group effort. No one can do this alone, and the biggest wins are to be had on the big photographs. So. Yeah.
Okay. So thanks for liking, commenting, and subscribing. And we'd like to thank DigitPaint and Asphalt Photos, our sponsors. And we'll see you in the next one.